Okay, hello everybody. My name is Viola Oser Luethi. For over 33 years, I have been working at a school for the blind in Zollikofen, Switzerland. I'm a specialized education teacher and a mobility teacher. In those years, I have worked only with children and young people. Since several years, I have been involved in education and training in the German-speaking countries. I have published articles and am co-author in the chapter Fostering Orientation at the Mobility at the reference book. That's this one. Didaktik des Unterrichts mit blinden und hochgradig sehbehinderten Schülerinnen und Schülern means about didactics of teaching with blind and highly visually impaired students. In my many years of work as a teacher for orientation and mobility at school, I would have always wished that the students came to class with more prior knowledge. Often it was my task to first make the children understand when they started school at the age of 6 or 7 that they could very well move and orient themselves safely on their own. I spent a lot of time trying to make the world more understandable and accessible to the children. And often because parents were unknowing, fearful, and therefore often overprotective or culturally different about disability. Even if children have been well supported by specialized early intervention, know-how in the field of orientation is lacking. In Switzerland, children usually do not receive regular orientation and mobility instruction until they start school. As already mentioned, it would be very supportive if parents and relatives could accompany their children in orientation as part of their everyday life. This would make orientation not only a teaching subject, but a principle of life. For this to become possible, parents need access to the knowledge of how a child born with blindness can experience the world and how the child can acquire orientation at an early age. This would require that appropriate information would be available for parents, for example, in comprehensible literature. In contrast to parents with sighted children, I'm a bit nervous, I'm sorry. In contrast to parents with sighted children, there is a glaring lack of development and education literature here. Oh, there, yes. Oh, that's nice to hear that. There would be an urgent need for more knowledge transfer for parents with an affected child. Can I give you a little example from my experience at a Swiss school? If parents use public transportation with their children at all, the children often don't know how big such a vehicle actually is, how many seats and doors there are, where are the buttons and the handrails. Children also often do not learn how to perceive the direction of travel based on the acceleration or braking of the vehicle. These experiences become important later. Also, that a certain route is characterized by curves and speed, or that the children can distinguish between a stop, for example, a bus stop, and a stop at a traffic light. Another example from my work as an O&M teacher, my 8-year-old pupil Randa must distinguish acoustically passing vehicles on the road as a task and suddenly asks me, what do we need trucks for? Preschoolers with vision like to engage in drawing and looking at picture books. That's it. When my daughters were young, we had a very simple, plain book about a family in a house. They especially loved this story because I always told it as if this was our house and we lived in it. We know that picture books help with language, reading development, cognition, and spatial awareness, and so on. In addition, I believe most mobility teachers agree with me about how supportive it is to work with plans. My idea for an apartment book, a picture book about the apartment or house of the child with blindness, arose from such considerations. This is an idea for parents on how to support their child in special perception before school starts. I'm aware that the apartment book is only one piece of the puzzle in the promotion of spatial perception. However, I'm convinced that the picture book can support the development of plan reading. That's the things that's written in the book. Children who are born blind or with severe visual impairment experience space by exploring it through doing and acting. They move in it, get to the bed, go to the door, look for the toy book or corner, change rooms. These experiences work when the child has them on its own. As long as there is always a person with them who guides them verbally or otherwise, they will not be able to gain their own experience. In the beginning, a child experiences a space through the paths it walks along. A child with blindness will not experience space as a square surface, cubit or cuboid, which makes it difficult to imagine the volume of space. However, as long as a child with blindness can experience a room through exploration, it does not matter. The child will be able to conquer any space. This is a very important and necessary experience. But if the child stays with this technique, each new room will be a new challenge. The child will have to start the exploration all over again. They will not learn a system that can be transferred to a new room. As a mobility teacher, my goal has always been to provide the child with knowledge and skills that are transferable in new situations so that the greatest possible mobility and orientation can be achieved. Imagine a room. A room has 4 sides or even 6, just as our body, which also has 4 sides or even 6. If the body schema of one's own body with its sides is transferred to the room, this principle can be transferred to any room. So a child has to learn as early as possible. And we heard this, some might have been in here before. We heard it, it's quite young. They are able to do this. I know it also. Where his front, back, right and left, up and down is, then the child must learn what is in front of him, behind him, what is to his right and what is to his left. Likewise, what means above or below in a building. The child must realize that it is not the room that changes, but that he moves in the room and he changes the environment by his action. I show what a suitable exercise might look like in a short film. Rhonda, you heard from her, 8.5 years old in the film, is not a particularly interested mobility student. She was always told in her family that it was not her who needed to pay attention, but that someone would always be there to help. Her ability to organize help for herself was great. Her motivation to act independently in class was another story. Rhonda was supposed to learn the way to the swimming pool. To do this, she had to cross this square room. The motivation was there because going swimming was her favorite activity. Rhonda learned about this room by exploring the 4 walls. All walls were explored, named and numbered. With children, I always name the walls according to their features. For me, it is important that the wall with the door in each room is always number 1. Here in this example, it is the wall with the lift. This residential building with a swimming pool in the basement is directly connected to the school building. It is accessible to the students only through the lift. Don't ask why. The 4 walls are called Wall 1, lift, Wall 2, ludothek, wall 3, pool, wall 4, doors. In the movie, she still makes a small mistake in counting. However, from any wall, she would have found the exit, in this case, the lift. Rhonda is led to the center of the room, must turn until I call stop, and walk from there until she touches a wall. She must identify the wall and from that position in relation to her body, name and number all the walls. When Rhonda names the walls, she points in the video with her hand or cane in the corresponding direction. That's the movie. Doesn't go.
Rhonda stands in the middle of the room. She's turning very fast and she will stop when I say on stop. On stop. She starts walking. Touches the wall. Says, oh, that's easy. That's the wall with the pool. That's wall 3. That's the wall with the lift. Wall 2. That's the wall with the doors. Wall 4. That's the wall with the chair. Wall 2. Bravo.
About the apartment book. The book represents the apartment or the house of the child concerned. It is intended to help the child learn the spatial principle of the 4 sides of a room. The parents, relatives, or other caregivers make the apartment book. It needs good tactile qualities for the child with blindness and additional attention in the choice of colors for children with low vision. It contains the concept of the rectangle, the 4 walls. It contains plans. It contains the story of the family. It contains normal print and braille, and it is used like a normal picture book. This is an example I made from my flat and my family. An optimal book size, which allows to achieve a good distance between the furniture, is about 25 to 35 centimeters. The book pages should be made of sturdy paper or thin cardboard. Double-folded photo cardboard has proven itself. Possibly a photo album corresponding to the size would also be suitable. The book should be not too heavy, otherwise it is uncomfortable for a child to deal with it. The book begins with the most important room of the child. What the finished book looks like. On the first page, in normal print and braille, will be presented the content of the book. For example, in this book, apartment book of the family Luethi. In the apartment are living 4 persons, the mother Viola, the father Heinz, and the 2 children, Celia and Fabia. Celia is the youngest in the family. There's also a cat living here. Her real name is Shelby, but everybody calls her Cello. That's our cat. The first double page could be, in this example, about Celia's room. On the left side, the floor plan is shown, once without furniture and once with furniture. The book is read from the top left to the bottom right. That's why the empty room is on the top left and the furnished room is on the bottom right. On the other side, there is a short descriptive text in normal print and braille about the room. This is how one room after the other, in descending order of usefulness for the child, is presented in the book. As already mentioned, the rooms shown in the book on the book page are once empty as an area and once with the corresponding furniture. Especially these empty rooms are very important, and here the book differs from a tactile map. The empty room will show the child the shape of the room, that the room is practically always rectangular, therefore it has 4 walls. There are always exceptions. Often in a room with more walls, the principle of the 4 directions, front, back, right, left, can still be applied. Here, in this example, when leaving these doors, the bathroom and Fabia's room, both Celia's Oh, is niet komen. Oh. Which? Yeah, okay. That's the not square room. Both rooms, also from the bathroom and from Celia's room, both Fabia's room, both Celia's and Fabia's room are, and the entrance in the apartment are straight ahead. Was this clear? No. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, genau. Not too much light. Each room in the book should have its own tactile quality that can be easily felt. Furniture should have repeating unique structure so that the same pieces of furniture in different rooms can be recognized as such. A bed remains a bed, whether large or small, as does a wardrobe or tables. No. Oh, it's not so easy. Yeah, that's the wardrobes and that's the tables, right? The individual rooms must not be overloaded, and children's hand must be able to distinguish well between the individual pieces of furniture. For this reason, some of the furniture is deliberately left out. Large furniture that is always in the same place is important for orientation. So chairs, for example, can be left out. It is always possible if the child wishes to add furniture afterwards. The floor plan without furniture is glued to the page and is not movable. The floor plan with the furniture in turn is attached with magnets and therefore movable. At the end of the book, the complete apartment plan is shown. The walls are outlined with 4 to 5 millimeter balsa wood on the apartment plan. Doors, including balcony doors, which are used, are omitted. It is if it is a house or an apartment with several floors, first the individual rooms of one floor are shown one after another, and after these rooms follows the floor plan. For the next floor, again, first all rooms are shown, and then the floor plan follows, and so on. Windows are marked with glue and or nail polish on the balsa wood. Ooh. The rooms attached with magnets can be inserted in the basic plan. The child learns how the rooms are arranged in relation to each other and how to get from one room to another. At the same time, he or she learns about the tactile map. The book should always contain normal print and braille, regardless of whether the child can read or not. Through this, the child learns that the book can include also a text. Every sighted child is confronted with writing from the very beginning. A child born blind should experience this as well. For this reason, our early intervention team inscribes everything in the family's homes with braille. As I said before, there is very little literature for new resources for parents with visually impaired or blind children. The book is not a miracle cure, but I'm convinced that it can be supportive for spatial understanding and map reading. It is also something that parents, relatives, and friends can do for the child. There are detailed instructions for this apartment book, which can be downloaded from the website of the School for the Blind in Zollikofen. The website is in German. The instructions for the picture books are available in German and English. Thank you for your attention.